in a middle school full
Mosaic.
insane teachers and gross school lunches. Ned Bigby, that's me, and my two best friends try to do the impossible. Create a guide that will help you survive
XCOM.
The black sheep of the XCOM reboot series has started it all in the first place. Back in 2010, 2K Games was trying to revitalize the XCOM franchise they just bought. At this point in time, it was only a cult classic game from the 90s. This is where today's game comes into place. It doesn't really fit horror muff, but there's nothing scarier than wasted potential. So let's go back to 2010 again. 2K Marin began work on a first-person shooter. This was none other than XCOM, as it was just XCOM at the time of its E3 2010 reveal. It was a unique blend of survival horror and first-person shooter of the era that focused more on what and how you would fight the extraterrestrial enemies. The aliens at this point were just blobs, almost paint-like, and they devoured everything in their path. They moved erratic and consumed anything in their path, conforming it to their own. The aliens were mechanical, non-humanoid, and would take over human shapes and technologies and attack the player, kinda like how Prey would do years later. Though the AI teammates you had at the time were just, there, they didn't do much. They went back to the drawing boards and came back with a more tactical approach that we would get in the final game, though it was still first person. Enemies became basic, and eventually they decided to go with the third-person perspective in the 60s timeline that we got today. Yeah, probably asking what the problem is, but that's the problem. This was never XCOM. By the time this came out, XCOM Enemy Unknown had already blew the world by storm. So why was this game needed? Why did it change so many times? Maybe it was trying not to follow the trends of contemporaries like BioShock. Besides the fact that shooters were diluted at this point because of Call of Duty and Halo, maybe they wanted to stick true to the franchise and fans and not alienate them, no pun intended. I never played the game, but my friend told me it was really bad. Yet the aesthetic, the gameplay, it all looked appealing to me until I decided to play this game. I'm kind of spoiling that I do not like this game, but just like Geist, I want to justify why I don't like this game. We start the game seeing the board of incredibly important white men talking about an intercepted signal. This is where you meet Director Falk, who believes the signal is not of this world. Of course, everyone thinks the opposite and thinks it's Russian. Why does every American plot have to deal with Russians? I don't know. You then get introduced to Agent Carter, a CIA operative assigned to deliver the suitcase to Falk, when you're then turned on by what turns out to be another agent taken over by a... what I don't know. Explosions later, you wake up at the base being attacked by none other than...
A fucking alien.
You fight your way through the base and save Falk and Agent Weaver as you try to regroup and escape and figure out what's attacking you and why. Now we can talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is like a traditional third-person shooter, though with the added ability to control your AI teammates to a better effect. They each have different skills that I'll elaborate on later. Human guns feel great, like really great. I love the sniper rifle and the shotgun. It wasn't until really late into the game I realized the M14 was automatic and I was tap firing the entire game. Controlling your teammates is seamless, though kind of pointless at times. If you aren't using their special abilities, your teammates will often break command and do whatever they want, oftentimes following you. I play a little aggressive. I play really aggressive when firefights happen. I'm either sniping the enemy one by one or rushing down shotgunning them all. It's hard to do that when I tell my teammates to go to specific positions to flank the enemy and I draw out cover and they decide to move right behind me and die to the enemy. We're also introduced to another big piece of the game, the totally not taken dialogue tree menu thing that from a totally not ripped off game. Most of the time the choices are arbitrary and just going to add more, sometimes even less context to the situation. It's really just a bunch of questions. Okay, I'm leaving now. That's it. I'll touch on this later. Once you escape, you go back to the base where you're introduced to other important characters and how the rest of the game play out. After each mission, you go back to the base, talk to a couple characters with no real context to the mission you're about to go on. Go to this terminal, maybe upgrade some agents, change loadouts, and choose a mission to play. In Enemy Unknown, agents are expendable, but they come at a cost, and not having experienced units as the game progresses can lead to mass casualties. In the Bureau, only playing on the hardest difficulty does your agents truly matter. When agents lose all their health, they go into a downed state, where they have to be revived or else they die permanently. Though every other difficulty, they just get up and keep fighting with no repercussions. If they die, you can just get a new agent at a resupply station. But at very hard, if you revive them, they're stabilized, and it's the same thing as Enemy Unknown, and they recover injuries. Adding not to be able to grab new agents at a resupply station is an extra challenge to the game. But why would you ever do this? Agents have such cookie cutter selections of traits that it doesn't matter what really happens. I only lost one agent, Nick Jonas sadly, but I still had Gordon Hayward and Joe Jonas, the best Jonas. These two agents carried me throughout the entire game. Your agents level up in certain skills depending on their class. It's really just two choices, and most of the time it's clear better which one is the best. Agents can be a sniper, mechanic, commando, or support. Snipers are snipers, which use the ability to become invisible or set up a dummy to taunt enemies. Mechanics can set mines and turrets but have shotguns, so they're kinda useless. Commandos can taunt enemies and have either a personal shield or shoot a fucking force wave to knock enemies away. Supports are useless, so don't even worry about them. It wasn't until later levels that I actually changed from the sniper mechanic duo to a sniper commando duo, only because I realized the mechanic did nothing in terms of actual shooting because he has a fucking shotgun and all his skills make him go in the back line. There's the main story and side missions that really give you bonus equipment to use. In the game, you change your backpacks to give you certain passive skills like more damage to shields, higher headshot damage, you know, the whole shebang-a-bang. But there's 4 missions where you send a group of agents to do missions in the background while you do something else to level them up. And once again, it's pointless because they never fail, so it's just passively leveling up. And this would be irrelevant unless I'm playing on very hard because there's no point in changing agents. I feel I should talk about the side quests first before I tear up the marriage story apart. I don't care about spoilers, I'm spoiling this for you guys. Side quests are so damn pointless in this game that start out so strong, and that's the shitty part. Each one has an interesting premise that has you engrossed as soon as you start, only to run through a linear corridor disguised as a city or something. Fight a wave of enemies, walk some more, fight a group of enemies, then fight a boss, and level finish. It was stupid of them to include a timer at the end of missions. I completed most of these damn missions in less than 10 minutes. All for a weapon or backpack I get in the main story any fucking way. For example, there's one mission where you get sent to get an alien artifact. You're never told exactly what it is. Your pilot Barnes talks to you the whole mission and questions the morality of not knowing what you're doing and if it's for the greater good. The whole mission you're seeing drones fly by and protect this device. They send giant mutons, a hulking super armored beast to protect it, and then you get it and that's it. That's it. They don't elaborate. They don't go back to the base. You don't see experiments gone wrong. They don't talk about it. It doesn't affect the story in any way, shape, or form. You stole an alien artifact and you don't know what or why. Even Carter just straight up says, "It's not my job to answer questions."
Carter, how accustomed are you to being kept in the dark on a mission?
What do you mean?
I mean, Falk sends you out in the pouring rain and won't even tell you what you're after.
Ours is not to wonder why, Barnes.
That's the shit I'm talking about. Even after the major development changes of the game, the world and setting is still interesting. You have 60s America post-Vietnam War trying to fight off an alien invasion that looks like they're losing really badly, and the game never really stresses the importance of what exactly there is you can even do for the little bit that helps out. So back to the main story. The story picks back up after De Silva, a friend and fellow agent, goes missing. Catching the zombie-looking sleepwalker disease, De Silva holds out until you finally come. He helps you by fighting off the virus so you can blow up this giant construction factory to deal a major blow to the invading forces. This is probably my favorite mission because at this point we're introduced to De Silva and we talk to him after every mission. You learn about him, you learn about his life, what he's doing and why he did it, how he got into the agency. So seeing him die so early gave me a bit of a hope that the story maybe, just maybe, will cozy on and show you that this is war, and in war nothing ever goes as planned. Friends, family, enemies, people die. Right after this mission you capture an alien and interrogate him, and it can go one of two ways, violently or you can talk with him peacefully. I did the latter, revealing that these aliens are nothing more but slaves to a bigger threat. Their homeland was destroyed and nothing more they can do but fight for whatever Mosaic is. This is a brilliant idea that is never touched on again. The aliens have emotions as well. The aliens are just like humanity in the second worst case scenario, enslaved to fight the fight they don't want to. This really hits home for Carter, who's already lost his family while fighting for his country, becoming an alcoholic, blaming himself for their deaths, vowing to never lose anyone close to them ever again. You can tell with De Silva and the rest of humanity that Carter truly cares about saving the world, often disobeying orders to go above and beyond to save others, trying to find a cure for the sleepwalker disease. He truly never feels like it's his duty to make sure the rest of humanity is free. He feels it's his job to do it. And this brings us to our next mission. Agent Weaver has gone rogue. She's sent to capture an Atlas, a great enemy general or whatever that magically appears, and it's only when you arrive that you realize this is where the Sleepwalkers were originally made. This is where it all began and hopefully all can end. And you also find out that Weaver's own brother is Patient Zero. How ironic, the human is used to craft this whole disease. Once again, this helps bring humanity to the characters. Weaver is talking like almost selfishly trying to kill Atlas while you need him alive, and this is where I talk about those dialogue options. Both times in this mission, no matter what you choose, it doesn't fucking matter, because Weaver would just pull the plug herself and kill Atlas even if you choose to capture him. So what the fuck was the point of giving me a choice? After this, you guys hijack an alien spaceship, go to the Rio Verde Dam and try to break in and kill Origin, the leader, once and for all, to end this whole war. You go through the dam, lower the shields, do the whole thing with the missions, and underneath the lake and you find Origin. At this point, I came to epiphany. This shit is just 60s Mass Effect. The more I play through the story, the less like the old time aesthetic, and we move to fucking space. Until eventually, that's all we do is be in enemy bases with alien weapons. Damn near the same abilities you and your allies use. You mind control, lift, heal, you summon robots and shit to fight aliens. You know that dialogue menu look fucking familiar? You go through all the usual fighting just to meet Origin, then this is where the twist comes in. Turns out, the package from the beginning of the game was actually the true antagonist. Origin is only fused with an ethereal being. Turns out you're fused with Raimi from last episode or whatever the fuck of Geist, and that's what's been helping you through all this. And another one of those Ethereals has been controlling Origin, who's been a prisoner under his control, and somehow you kill Origin, steal his Ethereal, now you have two stands, and you bring them back to the main base. Tell me how this makes fucking sense. It doesn't. This is where you get a bunch of visions and talk in your head until you go to some alternate dimension and talk with two fucking beings like Alien X from Ben 10, and all these ethereals do is talk over the host and force the planet to work together and achieve universal domination. And of course, Carter does what any sane person would do if they just talk to two celestial beings in a separate plane of existence.
Time's up!
And of course, everyone gets fucking mad at him. Oh, and he passes out. And he wakes up and they're like, yo, you know that had that alien for like months and you just two of you and you've been physically separated for it? Want to do some missions still? I mean, it's too late though. Power goes out and that captured alien from earlier, turns out that bitch was lying the whole time, completely destroying everything that was built up to this point story-wise. Now I'm mad. You chase this bastard down into the entire mission just so you can kill him in 2 seconds. And you go and you find the ethereal. Before you fucking kill the being, you get an abrupt choice. Which person do you contact? What the fuck? Merge with Weaver? What the fuck? Who you choose knocks you out, infuses with ethereal, and that's who you play with for the rest of the game. This also dictates what ending you get, though Weaver's is the only one that's different. I chose Weaver because everyone I play with up until now has been a white male, so diversify or something, I don't know. Once you fuse with ethereal, you go through the main spaceship as you see down below bombarding of the entire planet. It's truly marvelous to look at. A lot of this planet is really beautiful. There's a lot of environmental care that's been taken into note. The way that the Sleepwalkers act, the destruction, the massacres you walk through, you see people holding loved ones trying to hide, fight, and anything but die. Anywho, you get to the middle of the ship. Carter of course comes to stop you, but realizes it's better to at least let you get to the main systems and stop the aliens before beating the shit out you. This is where you get another choice. Who do you save out of the other two characters you didn't choose? The other one dies. You lower the shields and reach the final boss when Carter tries to stop you. You get a choice to either let him live, or capture him, or put a bullet in his head. I don't know why you would choose the second option. I chose to save him because Carter is the only smart person in this entire situation. I'm inclined to think that the person that had a fucking alien in them the entire game knows more about what this alien is capable of than somebody that just got it. Now this pathetic final boss is just a gauntlet wave of enemies, and it just takes a little more planning and backing up so you don't get your ass beat, but it's fairly easy. Once you complete this, you go into this pool thingy and shut down the entire alien race, and this is where the ending makes no fucking sense. So in Falk and Head Scientist Ware, what their ending is, they enslave the aliens and rebuild what they destroyed in the alien buildings and then kick them the fuck out. In Weaver's ending, she makes them kill each other until there's none left. Like, what timeline does having an alien fight a war against each other on your planet make any fucking sense? You're right, it doesn't make any sense in any timeline whatsoever, but that's what Weaver does. I don't know where this fucking comes from. And this is the disconnect right here, because I don't mind a single player story driven XCOM, but from the beginning it's actually building into something more about government corruption, the depression of war, and conflict dealing with slavery, freedom, and other themes, only for them to throw it all out the fucking window by the final act. All hits of a compelling story with a morally gray ending depending on which choices. Just like, fuck it, just fuck it. I could have ignored all the faults of the game only for this story, so let's just break down the rest of the faults now. I've already talked about the way gameplay generally plays, and the way side mission plays doesn't really deviate from the main missions, except they're longer. The enemies I feel were really affected by the success of enemy unknown. Before, in early development, the enemies were more like enigmas, conforming to the environment, and now those same blobs are stupid enemies that die in one hit. That crazy flying thing that looked like impending doom, a singular boss. Now your enemies are sectoids and bigger sectoids called outsiders. Though these outsiders have different classes as well, and they all go down to the same thing. Minions summon drones, tech summon turrets, elites rush and attack up close, mutons and sectopods are both giant tanky beasts at first. They seem like they're really hard, but they're not. Like once you fight like 30 of them, which you will, like they start throwing like 3 or 4 at you at the same time, they become like any other alien. They're just rush them and attack them, you'll kill them in 2 seconds. It sucks because they're generic. They're so generic. I got to the point I didn't care. I didn't recognize that new types were being introduced. I didn't care what I was fighting. The environments became so samey that after a while, it was just such a shame. I just didn't care. I was just running through because there was nothing exhilarating. It just ruined the rush of that 60s style that drew me in from the beginning of the game. Now I was just playing Mass Effect with white people talking. The destroyed, ruined 60s art style that started the game just disappears, and you start seeing the same terraformed technology that the aliens do, and by the halfway point you're just running straight into alien bases and only seeing and using alien weapons. You almost forget the human weapons and locations exist. Though I do say every gun does feel distinct and good to shoot, they all have certain sounds that just sound so damn good, and the voice acting is great too, to a fault. Certain times the dialogue clashes with what's happening in the game, and what they want to say overlaps, and there's no like cutoff point. It just doesn't hold up. That's what I'm trying to say. Just like Geist, even with this game, you see the potential. You see where they obviously failed and where the game can make up on if they made a sequel or cook some more time in the oven. And it's crazy enough, I would play a sequel of this game, only if it was like the original game we saw in 2010. Movies like The Thing and Alien are timeless classics because of the fear of the unknown and what makes that much more scarier. Not knowing what or how to fight what's haunting you makes the atmosphere way scarier than it should be. By the end of the prologue mission, you know how to defeat the aliens, how to take them out. There isn't a mystery. There's never a time when you have to retreat. This is the exact opposite of enemy unknown. Finding a new alien most of the time means certain death, and if you aren't prepared or plan accordingly, aliens can flank you. Even the smallest aliens can take out your most skilled soldier. One death can cause a friendly to freak out and panic. Eventually there's times where there's so many aliens or such an impending force that you just have to pull out and not finish your mission. There's never a time in this game like this. Your guys go through teleporters, outer space, and all this time they don't flinch, they don't freak out. There's a point where you walk through a drain lake where they're dumping sleepwalkers after they're done with them. Like they're dumping dead bodies in a lake, and you're walking through the lake, watching as slave sleepwalkers are building their structures. These are true horrors that never get explored. That's the beauty of XCOM. No matter how efficient you try to be, you are fighting something you know nothing about. And that's the fear that drives home every mechanic and system built around this game. That's not the case here. When I play 60s Mass Effect without the RPG elements, I mean it. There's nothing here that makes you scared, which is the biggest missed opportunity. I think that's because of the turbulent reception of fans and critics at its first reveal, or the weird rivalry with BioShock and all the stuff that was happening behind the scenes with the studio. I don't know what happened, but I think 2K took too much of a gamble and said I can't waste my money on the 6-10 years I've already spent making this game. We have to ship out whatever it is. And it's such a shame because this game has such an interesting premise that's never worked upon. Polygon wrote a really good piece years ago about the entire development of the game, and I think you should take a look at that, read over yourself if you're interested. The too long didn't read is the same as most lukewarm games with modest potential. Publishers, bad management, lack of key roles and direction, and of course, the missed deadlines. It's such a shame, as you can scour YouTube, and it wasn't that long ago. You can see people like Angry Joe and spoon. They're doing press interviews and they're sitting here actually excited or angry about the game and seeing where it goes, but they're still interested in what the concept is. And it's such a shame what a development mess can lead to. And I think that is the scariest thing about this game. Sidebar. Is the greatest thing to say about this game, honestly, if you think about it. Because everything that happens makes you go, but like, you want to like it. Like, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Like, on a scale, I would give it an 8 out of 10. It's not a bad game gameplay wise, but there's just the story and the situation that it's like part of a long-standing, well-receptive franchise, and it just came out right after Enemy Unknown, which was like the greatest XCOM game. It's hard to top that, and I think that's the problem with this game. But once again, like every other video, if you want to see me play anything else, you can look at my Steam library, description in the box below. I realized I didn't put that in like the last 3 episodes, but it's cool. I mean, yeah. So you can tell me if you want me to play another game there. I also have other games I can play. And once again, this is Sondi. I'll see you next episode. Peace.